I am Catherine Lewandowski, and I will be presenting on the effects of substance abuse and child abuse. In today's society, a large number of children are living with at least one parent who is abusing a substance, and research from a national survey on drug abuse and health found that 1 in 8 children under the age of 17 are living with at least one parent who's diagnosed with a substance abuse disorder. And this is an issue because when the child is living with a parent or parents who are abusing a substance, the parents are unable to properly care for the child, and the child is more likely to be abused or neglected inside the home. The first research article I looked into looked at the correlation between parental alcohol abuse and child abuse. So the researchers took a sample size of over 300 people and found that those families who have a history of substance abuse had a larger score of child abuse than the families that did not have a history of substance abuse. And the results show that there's a positive, significant correlation between alcohol and substance abuse and child abuse. And the researchers found that the most common types of abuse were emotional violence, physical neglect, emotional neglect, and then physical violence. And this is a problem because this just shows that when parents are abusing a substance, child abuse is more likely to occur. The next research article I looked into looked at the association between parental alcohol abuse and the rate at which a child develops a mental or behavioral disorder. And so when a parent is abusing a substance such as drinking alcohol or doing drugs, the child is neglected or abused within the home, and therefore these children are more likely to develop some sort of mental or behavioral disorder because they're acting out and not getting the support and their needs are not getting met at home. So these researchers found that whether the mother or the father was drinking, regardless if it was not a severe alcohol dependence or alcohol abuse, or if it was a very severe alcohol dependence or abuse, no matter what that was, there was an increase in the rate at which a child does develop one of these mental or behavioral disorders. They found that it increased the likelihood of a child developing these disorders, which is an issue because it impacts their schooling and their academics, as well as their ability to socialize with other children within the school and within their community. In class, in a small section in Chapter 4, the author talked about substance abusing parents and substance abusing families, and she talked about how since these parent is abusing alcohol or drugs, they're not able to properly care for their child, and they are not able to care for their child as well as they should and would be able to if they were not abusing the substances that they are. She talked about how since they are abusing drugs or they are abusing alcohol, the parents are more likely to abuse their children or neglect their children because they are abusing these substances. The parents, while under the influence, are not able to create the proper environment that these children should be able to grow up in. Therefore, they are not meeting the needs physically or emotionally of the children. Therefore, they are neglecting them. They're also more likely to increase the rate at which abuse occurs within the household due to the fact that they are abusing these drugs or they are abusing the alcohol. I looked into a solution. It was a research article that looked at therapies for fathers who are currently abusing alcohol. And so they took the mothers and fathers of these children because the children were not involved in the therapy, and they split these couples into 3 separate groups. So one group of couples received behavioral couples therapy with parenting skills. Another group received just behavioral couples therapy, and a final group just received individual therapy. And what the results showed was those couples that received behavioral couples therapy with the parenting skills, they had a decrease in the fathers abusing alcohol, as well as they decreased the rate at which Child Protective Services was involved with the family. Those that just received behavioral couples therapy, they had a decrease in the fathers abusing alcohol. However, there was no change in Child Protective Services involvement. And then those fathers who just received individual therapy, there was no change in them abusing alcohol, nor was there a change in Child Protective Services involvement. So what this research showed was that when the couples are taught how not only to cope with the stressors going on, as they are also taught how to parent their child, it decreases the amount or rate of abuse that occurs within the household, as well as decreases the rate of alcohol abuse from the fathers, because they are taught how to cope and they are taught how to parent. Therefore, they do not need to go drink some alcohol and abuse it to get rid of all the stressors, nor do they need to abuse their child for whatever reason. And this can be compared to those who just received the behavioral couples therapy, because there was a decrease in the alcohol consumption from fathers. Therefore, they did learn how to cope with the stressors. However, they did not have the parenting skills training, so they were not taught how to parent their child. And since majority of these parents who do abuse their child were probably abused as children, that's how they know how to parent their child. So that's how they parented their child. Therefore, there was no change in the amount of times that Child Protective Services was involved with the family. And finally, for those fathers that received individual therapy, there was no change in either the alcohol abuse nor the Child Protective Services involvement, because the fathers were not taught how to cope with the stressors, nor were they taught how to parent their child. And so I think this research should be looked into, because it did have a few flaws. It was a small sample size, so with a larger sample size, the results may differ. However, this was promising because it did decrease not only the amount of abuse, but it also increased the amount of alcohol abuse as well as child abuse within the homes. And so I think this could definitely be a more used solution to those who seek help for abuse and alcohol abuse. And these are my references. Thank you for watching.